Hello, lovely people. If you know me from my past content creation, you know that this particular YouTube channel has been quiet for a while. I made a video last year for my 3-year anniversary in Sydney, but previously I wasn't really active on this YouTube channel because I had my separate social media where I created content in Czech for my Czech audience. Before I started investing time into those accounts, I would have this channel. As this whole history can tell you, I haven't been particularly consistent with YouTube in the past, which is maybe about to change. I took a break from social media last year around mid-year, I don't know, June, July, something like that. Maybe actually sooner. Not that important anyways, because I caught myself creating content that was nowhere aligned with myself and who I wanted to be and the impact that I wanted to be giving. So I took an indefinite break, especially from creating for my Czech audience and on my Czech platforms. After these few months off, I realized that I actually do not want to be creating Czech content anymore. I still miss my lovely people and I am appreciative and very grateful for anyone who stuck with me even though I stopped creating Czech content. So thank you for being here if that's you. But to be completely honest with you, I'm so happy I made that decision. When I closed that door, what started happening was that I started giving myself opportunity to create impact in my real life, in my life in Australia, in Sydney. And it opened a whole new door to a whole new world that I honestly couldn't really even imagine that is waiting for me in the future, which is possibly a story for another time, because if I was supposed to catch you up on everything that happened in those last few months, like around 9 months to be exact, we'll be sitting here forever and this intro is already too long, which who cares? The intentions of these yap videos that I hopefully will want to stay consistent with is to create space for me to express myself freely and to yap on camera again. If there's something that I am missing about my whole content creation is my little corner of the internet where I can ventilate what is sitting on my mind, because I love my thoughts. I love my brain. I love the human being I am, especially nowadays that I've gone through a massive year in 2025 of discovering who I am past my conditioning and my external validations and pressures and influences in general. And I really reconnected with who am I on my core, so I could come back to myself again and love the version of myself that I want to be and the person who I am growing into. And now that I've done the work, I am realizing that I'm missing creating content where I'm being just truly myself and sharing space on the internet with random people who want to watch my stuff, and maybe nobody will want to watch it and this will be just my video diary of what I was thinking at given moments. Because TBH, I love journaling, I love writing. But when it comes to translating my thoughts, I sometimes like listening to them more than reading them, if that makes sense, from retrospect. And this element of my life, I really am starting to miss. And whoever will want to tag along and listen to it is more than welcome to, you know? I always appreciated that I created space on the internet where people could literally just switch off their brains, right? And listen to someone yap who I think has interesting things to say. I'm holding a glue stick because I apparently need to have something in my hands when I talk. So yeah, basically having a space where you can listen to someone yapping about something that they think is interesting, because as I mentioned before, I find my brain fascinating and I find fascinating sharing it with others and then getting feedback on my own thoughts and listening and reading about what other people are going through. And that's exactly what is the intention of these videos. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being interested in hearing what I have to say. Thank you for surviving this long ass intro. But as I said, it's my YouTube channel, it's my video, so I'm gonna do it based on my rules. Today's topic is to tell you about my birthday that I celebrated on the weekend and tell you why it was absolutely amazing and how I think it could be inspirational to any of your lives. As I always say, and I used to say, I don't really believe in advice. So this is not advice. This is just something that I'm going through. This is my life experience. Take from this whatever resonates with you, whatever doesn't, leave it behind. Don't carry it around if it doesn't serve you any purpose. If I say something that you're like, I don't know about that, do your own research, back my words with your own knowledge, or trash what I say, you know, at the end of the day, we are all individuals that are experiencing a completely different life. So whatever doesn't resonate for you will possibly resonate for me, or it maybe won't, and vice versa. I am very confident to say that I just experienced one of the most beautiful, magical, powerful birthday weekends and birthday celebrations in my whole life. And let me tell you why. First of all, I love celebrating my birthdays. I think everybody deserves to be celebrated and deserves to celebrate that they are alive. Like, you are literally a magical human being on this floating rock in the universe, in space. And you do so many beautiful, tiny and big and mid-size things every day in your life. So why would you not celebrate that you were born on the day that you were born on? I always try to make my birthdays about myself, about my own love towards myself, and about my love to the human beings that carry mutual love towards me as well. And I absolutely love that all of my friends are on board about making my birthday about me. And what made this dynamic so special this year is that for the first time, I think, that I celebrated my birthday in Australia, I feel like I have a community of people which is filled with authentic love. If you're not really familiar with the concept of authentic love, try looking into it. Honestly, whenever I started putting my time and effort into creating deep relationships, actual friendships, like actual deep relationships that are filled with authentically, deeply rooted love for one another and care for one another, my whole existence transformed. If you live in Sydney, you know how hard it is to create those deep bonds, but my unpopular opinion, most likely, is that a lot of people who will complain about not having depth of the relationships that they would want to have is that they are a part of the problem. Essentially, what I'm trying to say with this is that we all are not making deep friendships our priority if we don't have them in our lives. Because oftentimes what I hear as an excuse is, I don't have time. Everybody's lives are so busy. Everybody is just caught up so in work and in their schedules. Yeah, but we are also all part of the issue of not allocating and putting relationships as our priority if we want them as our priority. I had this realization almost 2 years ago now. And when I came to this conclusion and I fully had an eye-opening moment of oh wow, you keep complaining about this with multiple other people, but you are part of the problem. I was able to finally take action to not make it a problem for me anymore and snap out of the cycle of being a part of the problem. Now, 2 years later, I have a community of people that I truly deeply love, and I do feel loved by them. Honestly, I can't even say it without smiling, because the comparison of how I felt lonely then and how filled with love, I could literally burst my love out of my body sometimes. Insane. The comparison is just insane. Me having this realization that led me to having this community, though, wouldn't be possible without my self-love and without me loving myself to a certain degree, to even believe that I deserve to create this for my life. By the way, if you don't know this fact about me, I am a self-love coach and a mind-body practitioner. When it comes to creating deep relationships and seeking love, authentic love, that I hear from my clients oftentimes is that they don't have the belief that they deserve such level of admiration, of somebody thinking that they are special. They don't believe that they are deserving of that. So if that's your case, perhaps try asking yourself, do I actually believe that I deserve this? Is that actually what is keeping me from creating those bonds and those friendships and those relationships? Is it actually because I don't believe that I could be deserving of that? Because oftentimes there's stuff in our subconscious mind that we don't even have to be fully aware of. That's why we are building the skill of self-awareness, right? I can get very passionate about these topics. If I end up yapping about multiple things at the same time in these videos, you can just see how gorgeously and beautifully colorful my mind is. When I was reflecting on this weekend that has passed, I started feeling an insane amount of gratitude for so many things, and I'll like talk about them in a second. Would all of those gratitude waves that came just like flooding my body, what they all led to was the same core beginning, and that is me deciding to work on my self-love. Obviously, there's been a huge roller coaster as our lives and our relationships towards ourselves are. But for me personally, anything that I did ever for myself, like shifting my beliefs, starting to work on rewiring my brain, I always did out of self-love or out of wanting to love myself truly and unconditionally. And guys, I'm just so happy and grateful to be living life with sustainable happiness. By sustainable happiness, I mean that even though you have bad days and great days and mid days, overall, you know that you are living a happy life that is aligned with who you are on the core, and always trying the best to fill your life with balance and peace, because you have this deeper understanding that if you are overall okay and happy, everything around you can be okay as well, because your emotional reactions to stuff happening to you is fully in your own control. Also, side note, if I ever say something that you need more explanation on, because I'm always happy to explain myself and explain my sometimes explain my sophisticated thoughts, you're always very welcome to message me on Instagram. I will probably be the most responsive there, or even comment under the videos. I am actually pretty good with responding to my comments. I realized that even though I have my huge ass dreams and huge ass goals, a version of myself in the future that is waiting for me and then I'm working towards becoming, I am actually very happy in my own presence right now. And if you told me 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, that I would be living a happy life without relying on external sources to pour into my happiness, I would tell you that you are crazy. Like, I would probably believe you that that could be possible, but I would highly doubt how I got there. I looked at my birthday from an outsider's perspective who is perhaps judgmental or not fully happy with themselves, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, well, like nothing that majestic happened practically, but I felt amazing because I had my birthday filled with all of those beautiful things that we tend to call tiny, but they are not tiny at all, just because they are not materialistic or we can't see them with our own eyes, and they are more rooted in how they make us feel. We oftentimes tend to see them as less, and I am wondering why. But I also do understand that people would have that perception and perspective because that's how society conditions us to see our lives and things. At the same time, guys, if you are someone who does care about materialistic stuff because it actually truly makes you happy, I'm not denying your reality at all, but I did figure out that that is probably not my reality, and I was trying to fit into that reality, right? I was able to define and get comfortable with the reality that I want to live that is not always aligned with what society teaches us should be our reality that we want to live. What was also super beautiful about my birthday is that I wasn't anxious. I am someone who deals with anxiety. I don't like defining with anxiety, but I do like acknowledging that it happens in my life. And I'm working on becoming an anxiety-free person every day by rewiring my brain and doing my own self-work. And that was quite a huge milestone. Because until this year, every time on my birthday, something would happen that either then from retrospect or directly in that moment would trigger at least some certain amount of anxiety. And this year, because I was around my community of loving people, I love myself on probably the deepest level I've ever loved myself. And I do understand what is happening in my brain to a much wider extent than I used to before. I experience a anxiety-free birthday. And I'm honestly so proud of that. And do you know what? I kept crying about it. I kept actually tearing about it towards the end of the weekend, because that's how my body wanted to show my happiness, I guess, and my gratitude. I literally could not stop crying because of how happy I was about all of those thoughts and all of those realizations. And that empowered state that I got myself into after the whole weekend led me to call my mom and have a conversation with her that I was needing to have probably my whole life. That made me even more happy because it went so gorgeously. I was fully myself during the conversation. I was very honest, but very polite and calm and not defensive at all, which also, again, for me personally, a big moment of proudness. During that one conversation that took, 40 minutes, an hour, that I was preparing myself for and manifesting for such a long time, I was able to get out of the way all of the strains and dark influences on my relationship with my mum, which I already know that this is gonna become such a huge milestone in our relationship. I can't wait where this takes me and my relationship with my mum. And again, it took me back to thinking about how did I get this courage now? Why did it not happen earlier? And with this question, I could see the chain of reactions that happened ever since that moment. I decided to put my self-love first and start looking inwards and into my subconscious patterns and how I can rewire my existence to serve me. So yeah, this birthday has been huge. For me personally though, you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say with this? If anybody else experienced my birthday, it would not make sense for them. But for me, it was huge. And this is the beautiful part of individuality and believing that you deserve to live a life as your own unique self. And to celebrate all of these moments like this just because you are living them. They are a part of your reality. They are making you happy. They are contributing to you becoming the version of yourself that you are eternally grateful for. With all that I just said in this whole video, it was also a breaking point for me to finally grab my camera and start filming again. I got a craving again to share this part of myself, and I'm coming back to the want of sharing pieces of myself with strangers who will be able to benefit from my own life story and make their own life story their own. Because we can all be inspiration for one another to live life based on our own rules. And I think that is so freaking beautiful. Guys, I'm literally so passionate about individuality and our own unique self-love. I didn't even know that this is gonna happen, that this is how am I gonna feel after I finish filming this video. But now I do understand why I wanted to film it. Thank you so much for listening to me, darling. You beam of freaking sunshine. Believe that you are a beam of freaking sunshine and you deserve the world. Have a lovely rest of the day or night or whenever you are watching this. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Love ya.